Hello, welcome to the section 2 of preventive maintenance of diesel generator set comprehensive program. In this part 2 we are going to discuss detailed maintenance procedures. My name is Alpesh Popat. I am electrical engineer and welcome to this course. This slide we have already discussed in section 1. Just for a recap, we will quickly go through this. Here we are discussing about the maintenance strategy. So in the maintenance strategy there are different sections like a water system service, oil service, fuel service, air service, electrical service and exhaust service. All these 6 different services we are going to do in the preventive maintenance of DG sets, and every service has a ABCD checks. The quantity and scope of work of the ABCD checks we will discuss in this course in detail. A check is nothing but a daily check which we need to carry out on our DG sets, like quality and quantity of oil, fuel, coolant, battery, what is the battery voltage, specific gravity and cleanliness of the DG sets. This A check is normally carried out by technician on daily basis and they maintains the record of all the readings. Class B checks is conducted on every 250 hours of operation of the DG sets, or roughly a 6 month, whichever is earlier. This all varies companies to companies as per their maintenance strategy, but this is what the many of the companies followed this timeline. In B check, normally A check parameter is already covered. Other than that, there is a replacement of oil and fuel filters. Oil also can be replaced if oil quality is not proper, otherwise oil top up is carried out. Other than that, air filter is also getting clean and inspection of the belt and hoses. In the C check, which is carried out on annual basis, in which other than A and B, additionally we carry out a fresh force jet cooling of the radiator. So radiator fins are clean with the water with the force jet, so that all the choking in the radiator fins is removed. Inside flushing of the radiator is also carried out, and it's a complete external check. We have to remove dismantle the radiator from the DG set and we have to carry out this cleaning. So this is a very important, because cooling system efficiency is really a matter and it brings our temperature within a limit. Next is the exhaust system, and the last one is the emission. Class D check, this is roughly carried out at every 4000 hours of operation or 2 years. In this especially we carry out a fuel tank cleaning, because fuel is having adulteration, then the water content, also some impurities, sludges, everything. So we have to completely clean and wipe out the fuel tank with the cloths and make it properly and clean, and then we have to fit it back. So this is very important cleaning every 2 years. Normally industry carries out this kind of maintenance. Then there is a maintenance especially for turbocharger and air compressor. Fuel injection pumps calibration also carried out every 2 years or sometimes as and when required. Additionally, all the belts, hoses, clamps, everything is getting replaced in the D check. So this is ABCD checks of DG sets, and this has to be carried out as per the timeline and recommendation given by the original equipment manufacturer. Now from here we are going to start a detailed discussion about the entire every section. Like there is a 6 different section in the DG sets which we have seen in the previous slides, in which first one is the water system service. there is a cooling system in the DG set in which we are carrying out the preventive maintenance, and this maintenance is having a B, C and D checks we have already seen. So few checks are on daily basis which we carried out in this, then few are at 250 hours or 6 months, and then annually, and then every 2 years. Before we carry out the ABCD checks of any cooling system in DG sets, these are the very important safety points which we need to take care. So first one, that diesel generator set should be in a completely off condition, and this DG set has to be kept in a manual mode. So in the event of some grid failure, DG should not start in a auto mode. So this is very important, that whenever we start our preventive maintenance, this basic safety checks has to be performed for the safety of human being who is maintaining or doing a maintenance on the DG set, as well as for the equipment. Third one is the DG has to cool down. Let's say if we reach for to carry out the maintenance and DG has just run or DG was running, then we have to switch off the DG sets, and we have to wait for 15 to 20 minutes at least, so that whatever the temperature was there inside the radiator, it comes down, it cools down. So unless and until it is not cooled down, we should not start our preventive maintenance. So this is a very important checks. Then keep face away while opening the radiator cap and hoses during the inspection. Like we already mentioned that in the daily check, we always see the coolant level in the our cooling bottle, which is a recovery bottle, which is their expansion tank, whatever you say. So we have to see the level of the coolant, and also we open a radiator cap also. So while we open, we have to ensure that there should be no any pressure inside and water temperature is cooled down, otherwise it may create an injury on the face. So these are the very basic important safety checks before carrying out preventive maintenance. And other than these checks, there is a definite checklist is given by every organization, and that has to be followed along with the operation procedures. Now in this slide we are going to discuss quality and quantity check of the coolant inside the radiator. So these photographs, you can see that we are pouring the coolant, we are topping up the coolant and maintaining the coolant level. Like this is a recovery bottle or expansion tank, so all additional coolant always stays here, and there is a level is also given. So we have to maintain the maximum level which is indicated on this tank, and that the coolant level we have to maintain here. If it is going down, we have to top up during our preventive maintenance or during our daily checks. So a common problem with a lower coolant level is a coolant leak. Roughly coolant is getting leak during these hoses, and when these hoses get leak or during a turnout, this coolant starts leaking. So as soon as it gets leak, we have to ensure the level is maintained, right? Then coolant level should be between the low and fuel marks, which has been given here, and what we have discussed now. If it is low, we have to pour. And this is a radiator cap. In this radiator cap, okay, there is a spring inside. So while we open, we have to ensure that the temperature inside the coolant is at the ambient level, or it is cooled down, to to get away from any kind of injuries. So this is basically we would say like a daily checks, which is an A check of the cooling system. Now radiator hose check. So normally in every B check, this radiator has to be carefully examined. Even in A check also, we always see by the visual examination for any leakages. But in a B check, which is carried out at every 250 hours, we have to ensure that there should be no any cracks or any leakage from this portion here, and this clamp should be properly tightened. And so we have to press this hose gently with our thumb, and we have to ensure that if there is any visible defects are there or any cracks are there, we have to immediately replace it without further waiting for the breakdown. Okay, because if this coolant if there is any cracks on these, and once it's a high pressure water is there inside, so once any minor crack will lead to a further major cracks, and then there is a rupture of the hose, and then entire coolant will be gone out from this, and it will create a breakdown due to the high temperature in the DG sets. So this is very carefully we have to check, and every B check it has to be replaced. This is again a monthly or B check whenever we do a maintenance program. This radiator also we have to clean through the air blower, and we see that this radiator is these fins are almost chalked at many places. So carefully we have to clean this radiator, because if this radiator is completely chalked, it cannot cool down the this air cannot pass through this radiator, and because of that whatever the water is circulating inside the engine will never cool down here, and because of their oil temperature also will increase, and finally we will lose the efficiency, and we cannot we cannot even load the engine up to our requirement. With a very lesser load we may get a high temperature. So cooling of the radiator is very important, so that's why we have to clean it regularly, and depends on the area where we have installed the DG set. If nearby area and surroundings is too much of dusty, even frequency of cleaning the radiator also accordingly to be adjusted. Now a previous slide was like a monthly check or 6 monthly check of the radiator, wherever this slide is saying the C check, like every year this radiator is dismantled from the DG set, and we have to do the force water cooling so that all these chokes and any damages are there can be corrected, and we can make the radiator like a completely free from all blockages. So once there is a no blockages, and when we can see through the radiator, that means there is a clean passage of air is available, and that's how radiator can properly function. So this kind of annual cleaning is mandatory, which is covered in a C check of the maintenance program. In this slide we can see that before cleaning of the radiator what was the condition, and once we have taken the radiator out, and when we have done the cleaning inside and outside through the water jet, we can see the picture on the right side, which is after the cleaning, and we see that it is clean almost, and its efficiency is improved. This is also another picture before and after. So once we complete this A check or B check or C check, when whatever the checks is as per our requirement, once we carry out, these are the final checkpoints once we complete our cooling system preventive maintenance. Like we have to tighten the clamp and radiator hose properly so that there should be no leakages, because we have dismantled the radiator, so all the hoses will be replaced, all the clamp will be replaced, and again we have to properly tighten them. Then radiator cap also has to be tightened, and if required it can be replaced also. Cleaning of radiator cap and checks its spring pressure. There is a spring inside the cap, and in the event of high pressure it's like a whistle of the pressure cooker, it goes up and releases the it goes up and takes the extra water from the recovery bottle, so to maintain the water level inside the radiator. Hose should be checked for any leakage from joints and cuts on the surface. than any leakage from the radiator body, because when we do the force cooling through the water jet, there might be chances that any fins might break. So once we do this testing, again we have to pour the water and we have to carry out the proper leak test, and if there is any leak, again we have to do the correction. Then fitment of the radiator, and after doing all this, again we have to do some trial on the DG sets. Like before we carry out this testing, maintenance, we have to note down that is what is our temperature showing on our GCU display. Okay, and once after that, once we complete the entire preventive maintenance of the radiator, again we have to take the diesel generator on load for some time, let's say 15 minutes or 30 minutes, based on our maintenance program, based on our checklist, and we have to note down the what is the maximum temperature it going up to. Definitely once we do the complete cleaning of the radiator, cooling efficiency improves, so there is a 2 to 3 degree centigrade drop in the temperature. So this drop clearly indicates that this is just because of the cleaning of the radiator, which has enhanced the efficiency of the cooling system. So before and after temperature also to be noted down, and we have to fill the checklist. So this is what the entire cooling system preventive maintenance of the DG set. Now next one is the oil service. Oil is a very important section in this DG set, because oil is giving lubrication inside the DG set for the various rotating components, as well as it provides the cooling also. Again we will discuss the basic safety checkpoints before we carry out the oil service. Oil service also will go through A, B, C, D likewise, like we have discussed earlier. DG should be in a off condition. It should always keep in manual mode, so it should not even accidentally be started. Cool down the engine if we go for maintenance and DG was running. Please switch off and wait for 15 to 20 minutes minimum, so that engine and other parameters are getting cooled down, like water temperature, oil also reaches back to the crankcase and it settle down, right? So at least we can measure the level of the oil correctly, otherwise it will give a false reading. Keep face and hands covered with the glues during the oil drain and top up. So these are the basic checkpoints which we have laid down here, but other than that, there is a other HACF guideline which has been given by the OEM or by the any company to their people, to their maintenance staff, which has to be strictly followed. Now what are the PM checks for the oil service? So when we say oil service, again we are going through A, B, C, D. In A check, we have to go through the basic quality and quantity of the oil, like we will see in subsequent slide what we are going to see there. Then again oil level, and if required we will do the oil top up. In the B check, which is carried out at every 250 hours of operation or 6 months, we will do the oil replacement as well as oil filter cleaning and replacement based on the requirement. Here the quality check, like we dip this dipstick, there is a dipstick provided, and the same dipstick we have to use it because it is a calibrated as per the tank sizes. So we should not use any other object to check the level of the oil. So use the same dipstick which has been provided by the OEM, and when you dip this dipstick, when you take the dipstick first out, you will see the oil. You can just take the oil in your hand and you can see the stickiness as well as the color. If oil is too much black or brown, then we can see that yes, this oil is not good and it is a time of replacement. Like if you see here, like you see this color of the oil, like it is very much black and it is little lighter black. Okay, so with that you can see the oil quality, and based on the oil quality we will decide that whether oil has to be top up if level is down, or entire oil has to be drained out and we have to pour a new oil like oil replacement. So this is what we have to do. Here we see this is a dots has been given, which is a high and low and medium, right? So here we have to see that we see here this oil level is below this dot, that means it is below the low level. So in this case, if this is a case of ours, we have to top up the oil. If we are not going to replace entire oil, we have to top up, and we have to make sure that our oil level should reach at this place. So this is a quality and quantity check of oil. Now oil filter removal and replacement. So there is a special tool is available like this, which we have to we have to remove the oil filter cap, and then we remove the entire oil filter. Inside the oil filter there is a oil cartridges and elements which we need to clean if it is a cleaning time, or if it is a replacement like 250 hours or half yearly or annually, then we have to replace it completely with a new one. So based on our maintenance strategy and the healthiness of the oil filter, we have to take a decision whether we are going to replace it or we are going to clean it. If we are going to remove the entire oil and we are completely putting a new oil, like it's a oil replacement, then we have to open a drain plug which has been given at the bottom, and from there oil has to be taken out completely from the chamber, and we have to wait till entire oil gets drained, and after that we have to refit it properly, and we have to pour a new oil. So this is a new oil top up. If it's a 250 hours or if it's a half year or so, we can replace the oil based on our requirement. So once we complete the oil checks, which is a check and B check, okay, then what are the final checks after we complete the preventive maintenance of our entire oil service? Like we have to see the tightness of oil plugs, because we have removed the oil plugs to drain out the oil. So again we have to ensure the proper tightening. If oil will get leak from there during operation, then slowly oil level will reduce and we will get the low lubrication oil pressure alarm, which is called a LLOP, and it will create a breakdown of engine. So we have to ensure the tightness of the oil plugs. Then oil level, again we have to measure through the dipstick. Cleaning of all the components with the cotton cloth after the PM services. Then breather pipe also has to be extended outside the DG canopy. Collection of old filters, whatever the filter and their elements, their cartridges which we have removed, this is all hazardous and it has a special procedures for the disposing of. So that's why we have to properly collect them and repack them for the safe disposal as per the corporate HSCF guidelines. Then once we do these all things, we have to do a trial run of the DG set for minimum 10 minutes to 30 minutes as per our standard checklist. And once we run the DG set, the oil will move entire in the DG set, oil temperature will increase, oil pressure will also increase. So we have to be there during this entire 10 minutes or 30 minute testing, and we have to see look for any leakages, if any, from oil plugs and other seals and etc. And if we found any leakages, again we have to correct it, and finally we have to completely wipe off of all the engine components and their surfaces before we leave this place. So this is the final checks we have to carry out after the preventive maintenance completion. Now next one is the fuel system service. So far we have seen the oil service, then water service, which is a cooling system service. And now we are going to discuss the fuel system service. So in the fuel system service, there is again A check, B check and C check. In the A check, we are going to measure a fuel level, then in which quality and quantity of the fuel level in fuel tank, then fuel pipe inspection, fuel cap tightness and cleaning of the fuel tank. Fuel tank should not be having any wet part on that, it should be completely dried and clean. In the B check, additionally we will look for fuel filter replacement and fuel hose replacement. C check, we are going to do the fuel injection pumps calibration and diesel tank cleaning on every year. So this is a basic ABC check of fuel system service. Now again, important safety points we will discuss before we start the fuel service. DG should be in completely off condition, it should put into the manual mode. Smoking is not at all permitted within a periphery of 1 meter of the DG set. When the maintenance is carried out, there should be no smoking, no matchbox, no lighter. Fuel is a flammable, so we have to double check that there should be no any fire hazard during this maintenance service. Fire extinguisher also should be always accessible and healthy in case of requirement. So these are the very important point, like if anything happens, then we should have this fire extinguisher in place or also in a healthy condition, so at least it can extinguish the fire if it catches. So these are the basic safety points. Other than this point, every company and OEM recommends their standard HSCF policy, and that has to be followed during the preventive maintenance services of fuel service. Now we are seeing this is a fuel gauge which is mounted on the diesel tank, and this is indicating that what is the level of fuel. So every company has a strategy that what is a minimum level they are maintaining. Some companies maintain 100% fuel level at any point of time, some maintains a 50% of fuel likewise. So based on that, they have set the this alarm, and once the alarm is generated, people go and they fill the diesel. So this alarm is depending on this level, and this level switches. So this gauge has to be healthy, it should be calibrated, and we have to check this gauge healthiness also, and from this gauge we read the fuel level, and accordingly the decision is taken for the fuel top up. This is a fuel cap. So while we carry out the maintenance, this fuel cap also has to be properly tightened. This is a diesel tank. So diesel tank are sometimes external. If your DG set is more than 250 or 500 kVA, or some inbuilt diesel tank is also provided if DG set rating is below 125 kVA. So depends on the configuration, but diesel tank has to be clean during A checks and D checks. Like A check is a daily basis, so if we are doing a daily checks, then this cap of the fuel tank has to be properly tightened to prevent any excess or any things which can go inside. So we should keep it properly tightened. Then surface body of this entire fuel tank has to be dried, and it has to be wiped out with the proper cotton cloth, so that there should be no any fuel lying on the body or nearby. So this is a part of A check for the fuel tank. Then all the openings and everything also has to be completely clean after the fuel filling also. So this is a part of A checks. Then as a part of B check and C check also, and even D check, which is annual check, we have to see the drainage of fuel, removal of tank, cleaning of tank inside, washing completely. Fuel tank has to be washed out, and then again drying, wiping with the cloth, refitting of the fuel tank in its position, then filling out the diesel, tightening of fuel plugs and cap, and connection of hoses. So this is the BCD check. Whenever we carried out these checks on the fuel tank, these are the points what we have to ensure. Now this in picture we are seeing, these are the two filters. Left hand side is a primary filter and this is a secondary filter. These are the fuel filters, and during our B check of the maintenance program, this fuel filter is getting open from here, and we carefully examine the fuel filter element inside, and we clean it or we replace it as per our strategy. In this picture we see that this primary and secondary both filters has been taken out from the case, and we are examining and replacing them. This is a fuel filter, pre-filter, what we say fuel feed pump filter. So this cup has to be carefully removed, and any impurities or sludges are there, that has to be cleaned from here. Old filter also has to be repacked properly, as we discussed that it is a hazard for the our mother earth, and there is a specific guideline has been laid down by the pollution control board that how to handle this waste part from the DG sets. So we have to repack, we have to use those packing in which we have brought the new filter. In those packing we have to put our old filters and their cartridges, their elements back, and then as per our waste management policy we have to handle this. Once this filtering replacement has been done, then we have to ensure that there should be no any air pocket leaves inside this line. Otherwise when we start the engine will not start because of the airlock. So for that, if here we see this is a chamber and these are the bolts has been given, this we have to remove it little, and then we have to do this priming. This is a priming pump has been given, and we have to ensure that this oil is this fuel is coming out from this places. So once this is coming out from these places, that means we are removing any or air pockets or air bubbles inside the fuel line, and once it has been removed, then engine can start successfully. So once this oil is coming out, it is called a bleeding of fuel system on FIP. Once we loosen the FIP bolts and then we start putting this pump manually up and down, this oil will come from here through the manual pressure, and wherever it is open it will come out, and when it come out, with that even any air bubbles also will be come out. So this is how we have to remove any air pockets from the system. Here we see that bleed nipple is also given. So this is what, that whenever we found that there is an airlock, we have to loosen this bleed nipple, and we have to manually pump this. Primer pump has been given here. We have to manually push and pull them, and with that all these air pockets is removed. So this is how we have to do the bleeding, and again we have to retighten once bleeding is completed. Here we can see this is a filter element. So from here also, once we lose it and when we do the priming, this excess oil from this pipe is coming out, it is leaking from here, and with that any air pocket is there inside this pipe also is coming out from here. So every component like FIP, primary filter and secondary filter, when we fit them back after cleaning or after replacement, we have to do this bleeding also, so that there should be no any air pocket inside the pipeline. Now we have seen the water service, lubricating oil service and the fuel service. Now fourth one is the air service. Here we see this air filter in the picture. So in the air service we see that this is a daily inspection. Here this is a breather is also there. In which breather we have to see the indication, and if indication is red, we will see the picture of the breather in the next slide. If it is red, then we have to it is an indication that we have to remove the air filter and we have to clean them. So here we have to remove as shown in the picture, and this this is a dry air filter. So this filter we have to taken out, and even once we open this filter, there is a cartridge inside. So this is a part of our B check, that every 250 hours or every 6 months we have to clean this air filter. If you see here, once we remove this air filter, there is a safety cartridge inside. Now once we clean, we have to put a high pressure air blower from inside to outside. We have to clean, and after cleaning we can use this lamp inside, and we can just see through this filter, and if we found any rupture or any damage, we have to replace them. This is an air filter indicator. So this air filter indicators gives an indication that it is whether the air filter cleaning is due or not. It shows the healthiness of the air filter. And after completion of every air service, there is a reset switch has been given inside this air filter indicator that has to be repressed. Now a fan belt. Fan belt is a very important drive chain in entire the diesel generator sets, because all these components, rotating components, are connected through these belts. So healthiness of this belt is very important. In the fan belt checks, we have to ensure the complete tension of the fan belt. So that we can check by putting our thumb between these two pulleys on the belt, and we have to ensure that this belt should be pressed down up to half an inch without putting any extra pressure. If it is going down up to half an inch easily, then the pressure is correct. But if it is very hard and it is very tense, then it is creating a lot of wear and tear on these pulleys and their bearings. So adequate pressure and tightness is very much required in the fan belt system, and if it is very much loose or if it is very much tight, we have to readjust them. So first is check the belt tension. Put thumb on the belt in the middle of two pulleys. Belt should go below half inch without much pressure, and then belt tension is okay. And if required, we can readjust the length and tension as per our requirement. Now this is the section in which we are going to discuss our exhaust gases which is been emitted from the diesel engines. So this is very important because exhaust gases has a different kind of colors, and based on their smoke colors and further analysis, we can make out that what is the healthiness of our diesel generator set. So here we see there is a smoke analysis, like there could be a 3 different smoke in the diesel generator sets. One is a black smoke, other one is a blue smoke, or a white smoke. So if these are the 3 different color of the smoke which is normally seen in the DG set, and if every smoke and every color has a different reason, and that reason we have to make out with, through that reason we have to make out that what component is required to be checked to ensure that color of the smoke should be very light brown or very light brown kind of greenish, and which is a natural color of the smoke. If it is found a black, blue or white, that means there is a problem inside the diesel engine which requires a immediate attention. So now a black smoke. So if diesel engine is emitting a black smoke, then there is a improper combustion. If combustion inside the combustion chamber is not taking place properly, then there will be a lot of black smoke will be coming out from the silencer, which is nothing but a carbon dioxide. So if there is a insufficient air is going inside this chamber, then fuel to air ratio is getting disturbed, and because of that this kind of black smoke is also coming out. Now if air filter is choked, that means we have to do the complete air service. We have seen that in the air service we see the air filter indicator also, and after that there is a air filter inside the before the turbocharger. That air filter we have to remove. We have to remove the paper element, their safety cartridge, and we have to do the examination, and if required we have to replace also. And then even turbocharger also getting clean on annual basis. So these are the basic checks we have to perform. So in 90% of cases air filter cleaning solves such kind of problems. Other than that, there is a adulteration also in the fuel. So if fuel is not of the good quality, this also supplements this kind of issues. So whenever the black smoke is coming out from the engine, that means there is a no proper combustion and maximum fuel is getting converted into this black smoke, and because of that fuel consumption is getting increased. CPH, consumption per hour, or we can say specific consumption of diesel generator set is getting increased, and it turns into a uneconomical operation. So this is very important, and we have to ensure by doing corrective maintenance. Next one is a blue smoke. So if we found there is a blue smoke inside the DG set, let me just show you the small video, so at least we can just make out that how this thing works. Okay. So here we see in this video that this is a black smoke, this is a blue, and this is a white smoke, right? So these are the smoke which is coming from the vehicles or even a diesel generator set, and these are the probable reason which we have to do the correction. So if blue smoke is coming, that means there is a mixture of oil into the fuel. If oil is going into the combustion chamber, and because of that only such kind of blue smoke is coming out, and this is only possible because oil system, water system, fuel system is totally different from each other, but there is a chances where they are passing to these chambers, and so there is a sealing is given through the proper gasket and oil seals. So if there is a oil seal is worn out because of the aging, then there is a chances that this oil can mix into the fuel. So whenever such kind of things happens, normally as a part of corrective actions, that oil circuit has to be checked thoroughly, and wherever the seals and gaskets are worn out, it has to be replaced. Then the last one is a white smoke. So white smoke is a reason that any water particles, if it is mixed with the fuel, and such fuel is going inside this combustion chamber, then white smoke appears. So this is basically because of we are using water as a coolant, so there is a chance that coolant is getting mixed, and if it is mixed, then definitely white smoke will come out. So during such cases, all the coolant pipeline and their hoses, their gaskets, their coolant seals, everything has to be carefully re-examined, and wherever it is found it is a broken, ruptured or worn out, it has to be replaced. So this is what the basically a exhaust services. Other than these, there is a expansion bellow also is there. So during a normal routine checkup, we have to open the canopy if it is a engine is inside the canopy, or if engine is inside the room, then we have to carefully check the stake, their flanges, their tightness, and expansion bellow and their adjustment, and etc. If expansion bellow is not aligned properly, then there is a chances of breakage, and from there hot gases will come out, and it will be completely fill into the room or inside the canopy, which will further create a high temperature alarm. So these are the basic checks in the exhaust system preventive maintenance. So now we have completely gone with the engine related things, like we started with the water service, oil service, fuel service, and then finally the exhaust service. Now we are going to discuss with the electrical service, in which we will see the alternators and their electrical connection and etc. So in alternator box, we see this is a terminal box. Here the power connections are there, rotating diodes and AVR is also there. So we have to open it, and again, as we discussed, before doing any preventive maintenance, we have to ensure that engine should be completely in off condition. It should be in a manual mode, and negative terminal of the battery has to be taken out for the safety. So these are the basic checks what we have to carry out before doing any preventive maintenance or engine side or an electrical side. Especially for the electrical side, person should be properly trained, and he should have a proper license as per the authority wherever this DG is installed to carry out the maintenance. In this we will see that how we have to check the tightness of entire the all power terminals, and we have to clean and make it any dust is there, that we have to completely wipe out all the terminals with the cotton cloth. Now we'll discuss about the electrical sensors and switches. So we discuss this cooling system service. So when we discuss in that, definitely we see that coolant level going down, and then we add the coolant with topping up, or even in a D check we completely taken the radiator out and we flush out entire coolant and we refill the complete new coolant and everything. So in these, even this electrical sensor is also a part of this preventive maintenance service. So every radiator is fitted with this level switch, and this level switch is there is a float inside, and as this coolant is going down because of the evaporation or because of any leakages, then once it reaches up to the low level, then it gives us is a one command, because this is a basic switch which operates on a normally open and normally closed basis, and this open close command is nothing but a digital command, and it gives a command to our generator control unit, and generator control unit takes an action and it generates an alarm which travels through RS485 to our central knob. So depending on our strategy, this alarm appears on the GCU display. Also it gives a beep sound, and if we have taken this alarm extended up to our knob, then even central knob can also see the level alarm. So this coolant level switch is very important. We have to see and their NO and NC through the multimeter, and we can operate this float this one, and we can see that whether accordingly the NONC is happening or not. Now coolant temperature sensors. So in earlier slide we have seen that quantity of the coolant, how we have to check and how we generate the alarm if it is going below low level. Similarly, if temperature is getting increased for whatever reason, then we have to continuously monitor the temperature of the coolant, and if it is going beyond the specified value like 100 degree, then it should immediately shut down the engine. So there is a set of parameters which has been given by the OEM, which is fit inside the controller, and once it is reaching there, okay, there is a two different alarm, one is a analog, other one is a digital. So with both that alarm, it takes an action and it shut down the engine. This switch is a direct alarm from the radiator. It directly monitors the temperature of the coolant, and once the temperature is increasing up to a level, then there is a NONC contact which generates an alarm and tripping. There is a male female connector. So during preventive maintenance, we have to open this male and female connector. We have to completely clean it by blowing air inside, and we have to refit it properly. There is a stop solenoid valve also. So this stop solenoid valve operates on 12 volt DC. This valve is required to shut down or switch off the engine when we put a when we press a stop push button. So when we press a stop push button, this stop solenoid valve shut off the fuel injection fuel feed pump, and it restrict the fuel supply into the engine, and thereby engine get stopped. So this fuel this solenoid valves and their mechanism also has to be properly checked during every preventive maintenance. This terminal which is connected from 12 volt battery also has to be properly tightened, and it should be free from any rusting. Battery maintenance. Basic electrical safety checks before we carry out battery maintenance. Here important checks before start the DG battery maintenance. DG shed should be completely in switch off condition. It should always be in a manual mode. Person who is going to carry out this maintenance should have a insulating gloves, and he has to put on this and don't keep any tools on battery surface which may lead to short circuit between negative and positive terminals. So when we carry out a battery maintenance, we have to ensure that our tools are insulated and our hand gloves are put on, and that to prevent any accidental damage to the human or equipment, tools has never to be put on the surface of the battery while doing any maintenance. Now here we see that before we start the maintenance, we have to remove a negative terminal at first, because battery can create a short circuit if the positive, which is here, and this is negative. We see this is a sign is given. So when positive and negative is getting touch, then only battery will create a short circuit. So when we are working with the battery, we are also standing on the earth, and that is why this negative is also earth. So if if our tools is touch to this terminal to the body, then this entire body is becoming this is anyway earth, and this earth is connected to this negative, so this positive and this it becomes negative positive to earth. There is a short circuit through this, it will come here. Okay, so there is a chance that accidentally this negative terminal can touch a earth, and that is why to double sure we have to remove a negative terminal first of all. So by mistake even this clamp can touch to any body, there is a no risk because this is a terminal here and we have already removed this clamp. So this is what the reason is, that every time during battery maintenance negative terminal has to be removed before we carry out any further maintenance. In this picture we have seen that battery positive terminal is totally rusted. So terminal cleaning is a very important activity during battery maintenance. So we have to completely clean this terminal through the brush, and we have to remove total rust and other dust from the terminal. After complete cleaning of the terminal, we have to put a petroleum jelly on their surface. Once we clean it, we wipe it, and when we apply the petroleum jelly, we have to refit the terminal again, like we fit the positive terminal followed by the negative terminal, and we will put a complete tightness here so that there should be no any heating, spark or arc during ignition. After that, we have to measure the open circuit voltage also. When we remove the battery, when we remove the complete terminal negative first followed by positive, then this is a open circuit voltage which also has to be maintained, and there is a graph and table given by the battery manufacturer which gives the battery type, their terminal voltage should be minimum terminal voltage in an open circuit condition, and the specific gravity. So based on that we have to compare our readings and we have to take an appropriate action. So here we see that if battery is 100% charged and if it is a 12 volt battery, then our open circuit voltage should be minimum 12.73. So we saw in the previous picture that our voltage is 13.02. That means our battery is okay as far as their open circuit terminal voltage is concerned. Similarly, the specific gravity should be 1.27. So we should have a hygrometer also, and we have to open that vent and we have to measure the specific gravity of the battery. Here we see that on the battery also there is an indication has been given, and in which it gives that it is a red, it's a white or it's a green. So if indication is green, that means it's okay. If it is white, that means it needs some charging, and if it is red, that means that specific gravity is lost. It has to be it is required to add some distilled water and concentration with the concentration of acid, that is the battery water is there, which is required to top up here to maintain the required specific gravity. So these are the indication has been given in different manufacturers, like this is a Amara battery, Amaron, this is a Exide battery. So in Amaron battery, this is the window in which we can see the color, and here we see this is a green color, that means the specific gravity is okay, voltage is okay. Very important point that these are the all vent plugs, and there is a hole inside the vent plugs. These vent plugs should be always clean, and there should be no blockage of this hole which is provided on the surface of the vent plug. We can see in these circuits here there is a hole is given, small hole is there. It should always free and there should be no any blockage. It should clean properly. Okay, and this is a hygrometer to check the specific gravity. After the complete testing of the specific gravity and addition of the distilled water, we have to see the level of the distilled water. Every battery has been given a mark of high and low. We have to refill it up to the level, and again we have to wipe entire body surface of the battery and retighten the vent plug. Here we see the how we are topping up the DM water inside the battery in every cell. Again, like when we are doing the maintenance, we have a spanners, we have other tools, so we have to ensure that pliers and spanner should not be on the surface of the battery, and otherwise it may create accidental touch between positive and earth, and it may create a short circuit and fire. So this is a basic preventive maintenance procedures what we have seen so far, and we have seen that there is a ABCD checks which has been carried out on timely basis as per the DG run hours. Now we are going to discuss on the electrical AMF panel. So on the left hand side we see this is the AMF panel overview. This is a door here. Here we see this is a ampere DC ampere meter. Okay, and these are the indication lamp. This is a GCU, which we call it the generator control unit or a master controller. This is a selector switch. Also these three are the selector switch, and this is a emergency shutdown button. On the right hand side, this is a display in which we are seeing all these basic parameters like fuel level, oil level, water temperature. So this is a part of our A checks. Like we are seeing the quantity, whether fuel level is empty or what is the percentage of fuel. Same we can see on the tank of the fuel where the gauge is given. So at the both the places we can measure the fuel level. Similarly, if engine is in a standstill condition, then we can see what is the oil pressure, which is here we can see now 1.2 bar. Even water temperature is also 30 degree centigrade, and till now our engine run hour is 411. So this every maintenance when we go, this all basic parameter has to be noted down in the maintenance register. This is a complete overview of the controller. We are seeing that what is the supply available here, okay, and what is the run hour. Here we see there is a no any indication, so there is no any alarm. Controller is healthy. We see that the controller is on, its auxiliary supply is healthy. Here we are seeing that the generator is running, engine is green LED, so engine is running. This is the alternator, so we see from this single line diagram that alternator is also running, and this is a generator breaker which is also green. That means entire plant is running on the generator. On the right hand side, this two intersection circle is showing it is a symbol of the transformer basically. So we see it's a red signal. That means transformer is nothing but a grid supply. So grid supply is not available, and that is why it is red, and that is why mains breaker is also in a off condition, so there is no any indication. So with this overview we can make out that our plant, our site is running on the diesel generator set at this time. Here this is what we see here. This is symbol is the auto manual symbol, like this is the manual and this is auto. That means our DG set is kept in a auto mode. So when we do any maintenance, we have to go through the operation and maintenance manual of this DEF controller, which has been provided by the original equipment manufacturer called DEF, and all detailed parameters, their settings, alarm values, protection values, what is the meaning of all these indication, how to read them, everything has been given in that. So that also has to be referred during the maintenance. This is a complete backside view of the controller. So if we look at them, this is a mains voltage sensing has been given. So this controller is basically the master controller. It governs all the power supply, like mains power supply and then generator power supply, and it takes a decision that which the site has to run on the which power based on the whatever the logic we have set inside this controller. So both the supply, like a main supply and the generator supply, both has been sensed by this controller. So this is what the voltage sensing here, and then next one is the generator current. When the generator is running, its current is coming here and it is measured, and from that measurement it is giving us that how much generator is producing, what current is flowing from the generator to the load, what is the voltage, what is a kilowatt, what is a power factor, what is a kVAR, what is a kVA. All this is provided through this current transformer which is here, and the voltage sensing. So these all are different connection which we will see into the our last section, in which we will discuss about the entire control circuit in details. However, I will just give you the overview, like this is a generator breaker and this is a mains breaker command wiring here. So this top portion is over like mains sensing, voltage sensing, generator voltage sensing, generator current sensing. This is a generator breaker and mains breaker cable. Here if we see, this is a RS485 connections. So whatever the values this is sensing here, it is producing, it is showing on the display what we have seen in the previous slide. Like we are seeing all these now, all these readings and other alarms which can go from here, it is converted into RS485 signal, and this RS485 signal is going to the our server and from there it goes to the central monitoring system. This cable should be always a shielded cable and it should earth on either side. So there is a positive, negative on the ground. If we change the polarity by mistake, then definitely this RS485 port can damage. So if we want to have a proper communication and accurate communication, this cable connection should be always properly tied, and it should be a shielded cable, and its shielding should always earth to remove any extra additional noise. So this is how it is, which is a RS485 port. Here all these alarms are given here, and which we will discuss in the our subsequent module section 4. This is the overview of the AMF panel. If we open the door of the AMF panel, we will find this circuit here, like it's a mains input, generator input, and other inputs are there. Auxiliary contactor, this is a battery charger. Here this is a relays are there, which is a generator start relay, generator stop relay, generator controller relay, mains generator contactor relay, mains contactor relay, common fault relay. So all these relays has been given, and in their function and their wiring we will be studying in the next section. So these are the terminals which has been given inside the AMF panel. So from AMF panel, this all it is a input, and from output from the AMF panel it goes to the ACDB panel. So there is always a integration diagram, like DG set is generating a power, and from there there is a power connection and control connection, both is getting out from the AMF panel, and it further goes into the LT panel or ACDB as per the design of the system. So all these cables and wire during preventive maintenance we have to tighten it properly, and we have to clean it also. So during any breakdown or any emergency, we can read the terminal numbers, their ferrule numbers, as well as the entire TB number. So if we see there is a 1 2 has been given here also, which is a T3, and 1 and 2 has been given also here, which is T4. 1 and 2 is also given here in T5. So we have to ensure that these stickers should be always legible and durable. So if it is worn out or torn out there, then we cannot make out which 1 2 we are talking about from the diagram. So this sticker has to be always, we have to ensure, or we can even write down on the back side of the door that what this terminal or terminal block number is. So this is for the easiness for the engine operator, because he has to deal with this all wiring during emergency. Now self starter. So self starter is very important component, because if self starter doesn't work, then we got a start failure and crank failure alarm. So self starter is very important component, and during our preventive maintenance we have to ensure that this terminal has to be tightened properly. So this is a basic circuit has been shown here, that how self starter takes a power from the DG set, and it rotates entire engine wheel for a certain duration of time, so that once engine create an ignition, and when it is reaches up to an RPM, and before that up to a predefined time, it gets engaged, and then after this self starter get disengaged. So this is the overall function of the starter, to provide the starting torque to the engine. This is a charging alternator, which is providing a charging voltage to the generator battery, because during every crank huge amount of current is drawn from the battery, so we are losing the capacity every time whenever the cranking taking place. So to refill, to replenish the battery with the charge what we have used, we are using this charging alternator. This charging alternator is connected through the belt with the engine, and from there it is running and it is producing the output, and this output is directly connected to the DG battery. So in the event of failure of this is charging alternator, DG battery will not get charged, and with complete after running multiple times without proper charging through this charging alternator, there may be a alarm come starting failure. So this charging alternator and battery charger is very essential and important component to ensure the healthiness of the battery all the time. Sound level testing. This is also very important, because in normal condition DG set should emit 75 decibels of sound from 1 meter away from the DG set, above 1 meter above the ground. There is a standard procedures that how to use the dB meters, how to hold it, and how to take a reading at different angles. But normal in a standard way, we stay away 1 meter from the DG sets, and we hold this meter in our hand on palm, and our hand should be at least 1 meter away from the ground, and we have to monitor the reading. Even by the comparison method also we can see and we can check the healthiness of the all rotating equipments and any through this noise testing. So if we are doing the noise testing on daily basis or weekly basis, and we have a set of readings, so any variation in the readings also can tell us that if there is anything wrong or what, provided there is no any changes in the ambient noise. Now almost we have done with the entire preventive maintenance detailed discussion, and we have seen that how we are carrying out the preventive maintenance in ABCD check in our all 6 sections. Now there are a couple of examples where we see that is a wrong set of installation has been done. So this is a very important that we should know practically, that if DG installation is done wrongly, then what kind of problem it may create and how we can correct them. So I have taken few example of the wrong installation. So if we see on the right hand side, like we see here that this is a section, here we see this is a lights, that means here is a AMF panel has been given. On the back side of the AMF panel there is an alternator and on this wall side there is a radiator and engine. So if we see from right hand side, AMF panel, then after AMF panel there is an alternator, and after that there is an engine, and after engine there is a radiator, and from there that is a wall. So here we see that suction is given on this left hand side, so there is suction is okay because there is no any hindrance or any obstruction from the suction side. So it can suck the air, and after that this air will go inside. So it will go from alternator side to the engine side, and then it will pass through the radiator, and further it will go out from the DG canopy. But now we see there is a hardly any distance between this DG canopy and the wall. Even this 1 feet distance is very less. So what will happen, this air will be thrown out from this radiator through the radiator fan, and as there is no any open space available, this air will further will strike on in the wall, and again it will come back here, and again it will get sucked into the suction. So what will happen, instead of having a fresh and cool air, we will be having a hot air into the suction, and it will create a high temperature of the system, because finally this is a heat engine which produces the heat. It works on the heat, and this heat is getting transferred to the lubricating system through oil, and this oil is transferring their heat to the water through coolant, and this coolant is getting cooled through radiator by recirculating it, and this recirculation is again getting cool through the ambient air. Forcefully we are sucking here and throwing it out. So if our air is not fresh and cooled, then entire cooling circuit is getting disturbed, because if coolant temperature is not maintained, oil temperature also will shoot up, and if oil temperature will shoot up, then definitely the cylindrical temperature also will shoot up, and we can get high canopy temperature, high cylindrical temperature, high water temperature. So that's why this is a completely wrong installation, and this DG should have at least 3 meters of space minimum from this wall. Otherwise these hot gases, this hot air which is coming out from this radiator side, it will again strike on the wall. So either we have to cut this wall and we have to put some fan, force cooling fan, which will suck this air directly and it will throw outside, or we have to remove this DG on the right hand side little to make this clearance little wider. So based on the site condition, this decision has to be taken. We have seen here that our temperature is 101 degree centigrade. This is a snapshot of this controller only. So because of this, even we are not running this DG set on full load, we are getting a high temperature because installation is not correct. So this is one example which we should understand, and accordingly we have to take a decision while we acquire the space and when we do the installation. Here this is the one link. So I just want to show that how this installation is creating an issue. So I will just show you one small video clips. There is also one more kind of wrong installation where hot air from other equipment is going into the suction of the DG sets. So let me just show you. So here we are going to see this small clip, and it will give us an idea that how this is a wrong installation and how it is going to hamper our daily operation. So let's see this video. This is a diesel generator set, this is a suction, and we see this is a outdoor unit of the air conditioners. Okay, so I will just pause this video little and I will just show that how it is happening. Like this outdoor unit is throwing air on this side. Okay, so this air is coming from out from this fan. It is pulling the air from outside from other side, and it is throwing on this side. So what will happen next? If we see here, this air is coming here on this side, and if we see, this is a fan which is giving a hot air in this area. So this air will be going here, here, here on all the sides, and this is a suction of the DG sets. So if this air is hot air is going inside this suction part, then as I told you that this hot air cannot properly cool the high temperature coolant. This air will blow through the radiator, but it is not going to cool because this is not a cool air from the ambient. This is a hot air which is rejected from the air conditioner. So if such kind of installation is happened, then also we cannot get the right efficiency of the DG set, as well as we can observe the frequent high temperature tripping during summer, even our on 50% of the load. So this kind of installation has to be avoided. Either we have to raise the height of this outdoor unit so that this air should not come here, or the distance of this has to be at least minimum 4 to 5 meters if it is like a situation, or the orientation of this ODU unit has to be changed. So whatever is possible, with accordingly based on the site situation, decision has to be taken. But this is also a case of the wrong installation. So this is on the suction side. Like suction is not proper because we are going to suck the hot air rejected from the air conditioner. Now let us see on the other side. So this is a AMF here, okay, and other side is a radiator on the opposite side. So we'll go there, and we see that here there is a very less space. You see there is very less clearance. So air is getting sucked from other side, and it is through this radiator on this wall, and again this hot air will come on both the sides. So anyway, there is on the suction side there is a hot air. Further this hot air will become further hot through radiator, and again it is moving in surrounding the DG sets. So this area is a completely hot circuit of the air, and this DG will never get a cooling properly on either side, and because of that this DG cannot even run on their standard load condition. Even with very minimum load, DG will give a high temperature alarm and tripping. So it's not a healthy environment for DG to run, because this is a wrong kind of installation has been done. So this is what I want to show here. So at least with that, we can have a proper due diligence when we acquire the space, when we see the clearance. We have to have enough clearance for the maintenance people to carry out the preventive maintenance effectively. If there is no proper clearance, there is a lot of hindrance, then definitely person cannot do the qualitative preventive maintenance, and which leads to a premature failure and higher operational cost of the DG set. So now our next topic is the records of the maintenance. How we have to maintain our records, and how we have to carry out our maintenance entire schedule, and all plant maintenance, how we have to take care during entire year. So here we are going to discuss a little on that. So here we see this is a maintenance schedule. So here we see this daily check, weekly check, monthly check, on 6-month check, yearly check, and so on. So there is a definite maintenance schedule at every facilities, every plants or every establishment. So they have a standard maintenance procedures and maintenance schedule which has to be adhered to. But by and large, the basic checks, like what we said, the daily check, which is a check, then there is a B check, which what we call is a 250 hours. But few companies also followed a 125 hours of checks based on their diesel generators location and their running conditions. So A check, B check, C check, and D check is by and large, as there is a worldwide standard of the DG set. Like A is a daily. So if we see in the daily, what we normally do, like a general inspection, we see the coolant, we see their temperature, their level. So this is nothing but a quality and quantity check. Then we'll check the oil level, we'll see the fuel level, and then check the charge air piping. So these are the basic normal checks which is performed on daily basis, which is covered in the A checks. Okay, if there is no no weekly check, then definitely whatever the weekly check is there, that will also be a part of the daily check, like air cleaner, battery charger, fuel, drain fuel filter, water from fuel tank. So all those are normal checks which is normally done through the visual examination. Then monthly checks, or we can say the 6-month check, like coolant concentration. So we see that if coolant is required to be top up, we will top up. Okay, and we have to mix some this coolant with some DM water, and we have to do some top up there. Then drive belt tension, drain exhaust condensate, all these parameters what we do is a monthly checks. In a 6-month check, as per our standard check, which is a B check, in which what normally we do the replacement of entire oil and the filter. Similarly, we remove this coolant filter and breathers, air filter. Inside the air element we do the cleaning, and on annual basis we remove the cartridge and filter also. So this is a by and large standard procedures for the maintenance. Roughly companies take some decision based on their running hours and what is their level of operation, what is the their operations, like it's unmanned operations or manned operations. So based on many parameters, they decide their optimum maintenance policy so that it costs them less, and at the same time their output, their availability of their engines and their alternators, the DG set is a maximum. So that's basically a techno-commercial decision. They fine-tune it based on their work schedules. So this is another set of example also. So every company has a different kind of things, but by and large what we have discussed is same, like A, B, C, D checks. Okay, so far we have discussed in details of entire preventive maintenance and critical components of the diesel generator sets. In the next 2 sections we are going to discuss in detail about the critical alarms, their set points and their protections, how they operate and what is the reason when they operate, and how we have to correct them, how we have to acknowledge, reset, and what kind of corrective action is required. And when we see the alarms, what is the troubleshooting procedures. All this we will discuss in our section 3, and in section 4 we will discuss about the complete control wiring and protection, how the relay operates and what is the GCU connection, and etc. we are going to discuss in our last section. So now let us go to the basic question and answer based on our so far learning. So here the question is, what is the daily checking level of fuel, water and oil in DG set is part of which checks? So as we understood that we have a B, C and D check. A is a daily check, B is a half yearly check or 250 hours checks by and large, C is a yearly check, and D is a every 2-year checks. So the question is that we are going to see the basic quantity of the fuel, water and oil. So this is a part of our daily check, that means it is a check. The next question is replacement of oil and fuel filter in DG set is part of which checks? So as we discussed that A check is a daily, we are not going to replace oil and fuel on daily basis, so it's not a part of A check. We know that D check is a 2-year, every 2 year we perform the D check, like we do the maintenance of the turbocharger, air compressors. Okay, so this is even not a part of this, even fuel tank cleaning. So this is not that, so it is not a D check. Then what is a C check? C is an annual check, so in which we do the FIP calibration, we remove the radiator and do the force water cleaning. So this is also not a C check. So what is the left is now the B check. So this is a B check in which we do the replacement of oil and fuel filter. So answer is B. Which type of battery is being used in 20 to 125 kVA DG sets, especially in India? So there are multiple kind of batteries are there, but normally we use a lead acid battery because we measure the specific gravity and we do the top up of the battery water or DM water. So this is basically in a lead acid battery. So this is not a lithium battery, this is not a nickel cadmium battery, or this is not a sodium battery. So answer is lead acid battery. Now next question is which terminal should be removed first during DG battery preventive maintenance? So as we mentioned that when there is a connection between positive and negative, then there is a short circuit. So when we are doing a maintenance as a maintenance person, we are standing on the earth, which is a body. Now we are standing on the body, and if our tools which we have holded in our hand, if it touches on the negative terminal, okay, if it is touches on the negative terminal before removing the terminal, then what will happen? Like negative, there is a direct connection between positive and negative through the earth, which creates a short circuit. So before there is any kind of accident happens, we want to remove the negative terminal clamp from the terminal itself, so that if that clamp is removed, there is no chance that even if it is that terminal that clamp is getting earth, but it is removed already, so it will not create any issue. So that is why we should not remove any other terminal but negative for being a safe practice. So answer is negative. Unbalanced voltage in DG in each phase of DG attributed to fault in which part of the DG set? So if our generator is running but we are not getting a proper voltage in any phase, every phase is having a different voltages, okay, so then this is attributed to what? Which part of the DG set could have a issue? So here the first option is governor. So governor is normally governing the speed of the DG sets, and if speed is not maintained, then governor regulates the fuel flow. So it maintains the speed and thereby it maintains the frequency. So yes, if higher frequency, then create a higher voltage also, but then it will create a higher voltage in every phase. Here what we are talking about, the unbalance among the phases. Okay, so one phase could be on higher side, other phase could be on lower side also. So governor is not an answer. DG battery is definitely used to crank the engine. So once engine is running, DG battery has no role to play. So DG battery is not an answer. Then another option is a radiator. So radiator is used for the cooling purpose. It should cool the heat of the oil, so oil can recirculate inside the oil chamber and all. So even radiator has also no role in this. So only the leftover is AVR and rotating diode. So if your AVR is worn out or AVR is faulty, then definitely we cannot get a stable voltage in the phase, and there is a port of potentiometer which is required to adjust to get the proper voltage and the feedback. And if there is no buildup of the voltage from the armature or from the alternator, then there is a fault in the rotating diode. So AVR and rotating diode is the correct answer in case of unbalanced voltage in the DG set. Now next question is, which part of DG set should be inspected in the event of DG crank failure? So if DG is not able to get crank, okay, so what is the answer? One is the DG battery, second one is the coolant, third one is the AVR, and the last one is the fuel. So answer is here, if our DG battery is faulty, it cannot give a supply or enough energy to the self starter, and because of that engine cannot get crank. So DG battery is the correct answer of this question. Now next question is, where would you check in case of DG fail to stop alarm? Let's say कि DG is not getting stop even after there is a command, so there will be an alarm called DG fail to stop. So what makes this alarm? So our option is charging alternator. So function of the charging alternator is to charge the DG battery while DG is running. So it has only a limited role to play, only to charge the DG battery, so it cannot be the answer. Then this is next one is a self starter. So self starter role is to crank the DG. It takes the power from the DG battery and it cranks the DG. So it is giving a starting torque to start the engine. But here we are talking about the stopping the DG. So here self starter is not an answer. Then fuel injection pump. Fuel injection pump role is to throw the fuel inside the combustion chamber as per the requirement. Okay. So fuel injection pump also cannot be the answer. The answer is solenoid valve, which is a stop solenoid valve. Okay, stop solenoid valve is an answer which actually prevents the fuel injection pump supply, which prevents the fuel feed pump supply, and from there if fuel feed pump is not able to feed the fuel then to the FIP, then definitely engine will stop. So if stop solenoid valve is faulty, in that event DG fail to stop alarm will come. So stop solenoid valve is the answer of this question. Next question is, what is the direction of external air flow for radiator cooling? Suction to discharge. So question is, when the air enters, it gets sucked inside the in DG canopy and then it's throw back from the other side. So what is the suction part and what is the discharge part, that we have to visualize here. So air gets sucked And then what is the function of the air? Air function is to remove the heat from the hot water. So hot water is where it is in the radiator. So definitely radiator is the discharge point in this case. So radiator is fitted with the engine and engine is fitted with the alternator. So in our case suction is at this alternator side. So our answer is that air is getting sucked from alternator side and then it travels to engine, and from engine it goes to radiator, and from radiator it goes through the radiator and it goes out of the DG sets. So flow of air is from alternator to engine. This is the correct answer. The next question is, what could be the most probable reason for under frequency alarm in DG set? So if DG is getting a lesser frequency, so we know there is a formula called N is equal to 120 into F, which is F is a frequency, divided by P, which is pole. So N is directly proportional to frequency. So if frequency is under frequency, that means a lower frequency, that means speed is also lower. If our speed is getting reduced, our frequency also will be reduced. So what is the main reason that we get a reduced speed? So who monitors the speed here? So like the answer is, question is, the option is lesser supply of water. So if let's say if we have a lesser water supply, if our cool water or coolant water is leaked, what will happen? It will create the high temperature and further tripping. It will not create under frequency. If we give a lesser air, if our air filter is jam, then what will happen? Insufficient air is going inside the DG set. Because of that, fuel to air ratio will be disturbed and we might get a black smoke. So this is also not a reason. Then lesser supply of lubrication. If our oil is getting leak, what will happen? If oil is not going properly inside the lubricating, it will create the engine temperature, and before that we have a low lubrication oil pressure alarm. So LLOP will operate, it will shut down the engine. So that will also not create a under frequency. So who will create under frequency is lesser supply of the fuel. If fuel filter is got jam or choke, then fuel will not be supplied properly, and because of the lesser fuel there will be a lesser RPM, and because of the lesser RPM frequency will be the lesser. So lesser RPM is because the lesser supply of fuel. So the correct answer is lesser supply of fuel. So this is what we have learned today in detail. So I thank you very much, and if you are interested to learn the troubleshooting procedures, critical alarms and protections, then it is a section 3, and after that there is a last and final section which is 4, in which we will discuss about the electrical circuits. Thank you.